Alright, so welcome back to another Flask tutorial. So let me do a quick recap on what we did in last 7 tutorial. So we talked about fundamental components such as route, form processing, even some database stuff. So today what we need, and Jinja of course. So today what we will talk about is we'll actually start build our first project in Flask. It's called a bit.ly clone. So just in case you never visited bit.ly before, I'm gonna show it to you. So if you go to bit.ly, you will see here is like the dashboard. So basically, you could log in. You could create a really long link, so you can paste your long URL here, and it will automatically generate a short URL for you. Okay. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. So we're gonna create a website similar to bit.ly. You'll see what's the purpose. Well, the purpose is I actually don't know, but you will have lots of opportunity to learn about how to put all these components together. So our project will have 5 main points. First is users should be able to register, log in, and log out in our website. Then they obviously need to be able to shorten the URL. After all, it's our main purpose with this website. It's able to store the URL in local storage while JavaScript if it's not logged in. If logged in, store URL in the user's dashboard or in the database. Able to keep track of analytic when user uses URL. So like some fundamentals like how many clicks. That's pretty much it about analytic. Okay. So these are our goal to accomplish. So we'll work on the first part. User can register, log in, and log out. Alright. So dependency. Not really a lot of dependency to be honest, but anyway, so first what I will do is I will actually go ahead and create a new GitHub repository. So it's a great chance if you never know GitHub before. Let me switch to, that is me. Alright. I'm gonna call this bit.ly clone. Bit.ly. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to paste this, git cd git repo, git clone this. I'm gonna make it bigger. Alright. So now what I will do is I will cd to bit.ly clone. And then what I will do is I will do a basic project setup for now. So let me go ahead actually open this folder in my VS Code. Then we're gonna make it larger. Let's get set up. Alright, I'm pretty sure it's large enough, so we're gonna create following files. First is our app.py, so this is where our main Flask file will be live in. And we also have a helpers.py. So helpers.py is another Python file that's keep our app.py clean, like some helper function in some sort. We're also going to create a db.sqli3 from a database. And then we also will create, didn't do open db.sqli3 actually. We also will create a folder called templates for store our templates. For now, our templates are going to only have following. So we'll have layout.html. We'll have register.html. We will have login.html. We will also have index.html. Alright. So we are not gonna put all these files just yet. Alright, so that's our setup for the project. Again, this app.py, db.sqli3, helpers.py, templates directory. Inside of templates directory, you have index.html, index layout login, and register.html. Note that I'll create a file called helpers.py. Yeah, set that good. Okay, so now now we're gonna add following like boilerplate to our Flask application. So you say from Flask, import Flask. Whoops, not in the correct directory. Yeah, that way I saw it for the syntax. I think it doesn't work. From Flask, import Flask. From helpers, import star, which means import everything. And then import SQLite also. I'm not sure that's the correct way to do it. Import SQLite 3. And then import helper function. Now we can connect to a database. So to connect to a database, which we didn't talk about, we just talked about some basic SQL. To connect to a database, what you can do is first you need to establish a new connection, which you can say con equals SQLite3.connect. Put your put db.sqli3 here, and then we'll say check same thread will be false. So stop rapid so I don't have to scroll around. And then we're gonna say c equals conda cursor. This is create a new cursor. Don't worry what's happening underneath the hood. I'm not sure can I get it or not. Get to it or not. But basically you need a cursor so you can execute SQL commands. And most importantly, app equals Flask __ name __. Alright. Alright, so now in our layout.html, we will add the following contents. So this is like the boilerplate for doc.html, HTML, head, whoops, body here, yeah, let me go to get strap, copy the CDN. Yes, we will use Bootstrap because it's really simple to get started with. And then we also have a title. We need a title. Let's call title block title and block body. We're just gonna say block main. And then end block here. By the way, if you don't know what I'm doing, I suggest you watch my previous tutorials, which I will link a card, hopefully here. And by the way, this video is probably going to be really long, so make sure you have allocate enough time. And finally, gonna put these just in case we need to use them for the JavaScript stuff. Alright, So from Flask, we're gonna import session also, import redirect. Maybe also URL4 render template. So it's just some basic render template. So this is just some basic file. So Flask, as you know, initialize a new Flask class session. This is give us we'll talk about what session do. It helps us to keep track which user logged in. Redirect, it's obviously just redirect to a new location. It can be within this Flask app or to external web app. URL4 is to redirect to a certain function. Render template, obviously render a Ginger template. And now we finished this. Let's go ahead and set up a database. So in here, I'm just gonna say open. So we will still use our DB browser for SQLite to set up. That's not really professional, but it's much easier to get started with because it will run into some problem if you try to execute manually with SQL. But don't worry, this will be the last time that we will execute SQL manually in this video. So we're gonna create a table. Actually, let's just execute SQL. That will be much faster. So create table users, ID, user ID, primary key, auto increment, email varchar 255, password, this will be text. Okay, let's go ahead and run this, make sure. Oh yeah, integer, forget about that. Alright, there we go. Whoops, whatever I just did. Okay, let's go ahead and write the change. Make sure to click on that button. Spoiler alert, if you don't, you also need to click a button of some sort. Let me when you execute in Python. And now you can see it's really simple. We have primary key, user ID, always the first column of our SQLite table, at least usually, email, and password. And now we can close this window. I don't think we're going to use it. Alright, so first is we need to think about how can we register a user. So to register, the first thing is to not actually worry about this Python file. It's actually talk about register.html. So we need a form that user be able to fill out to log in. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to first is extend layout.html. Then this is template inheritance. Register. So we really need technically 3 fields. So form, let me just get the form here. That'll be much easier to type the whole thing. Form. Alright. Okay. How are we gonna use this? Alright, so gonna paste this here. We're gonna fix some indentation error. So generally use of tab is 4. So this would be much better. Yeah. Okay. Now of this. And now what we will do is I'm not gonna have a checkbox here. We will create a checkbox later. And now I'm gonna create fields here. Now what I will say is email, password, confirm password, password confirmation, either way. I'm not going to worry about change ID just yet. But I do need to add name for each one. So name is email. Name is password. Name is password. And then this name is confirmation. Alright. So I'm now gonna make sure our action set up to set register. And so we'll handle register in register route. Method going to be post as we learned from form processing video. Okay. So that's, I believe, is all we need to do for register. And now let's go ahead and add following route information. So first, so we need to go out and create a register with a function called register, taking no parameter. And then here I'm gonna specify we're gonna accept two methods. Oops. Two methods. One is get, one is post. And then if request method equals get equals post, usually say now, which means we'll get the form. Whoops, yeah. And also import request here. Otherwise, I'm just gonna say return render template register.html. Okay. Okay. So that's about it for our initial setup. But how do we actually handle it when users submit the form? Well, actually, let me go start this application. By the way, since we don't have an index route, by default you will see for not found. Don't worry, just go /register route. Export Flask debug. We need to make sure have our debug mode on. Alright. I don't think we need it. Alright, good. So /register. Now I can see a form. A really bad form. We don't even have what H1 text and what form it is. But just understand it's a register form. So if I say fill someone at example.com, someone. Now if I click submit, you will see it doesn't return response because we set paths here. Alright, so what should we do now? Well, here's a pseudocode that we can follow. Oh my god, what do I have for colon? That's always. Alright, so the pseudocode is written like this. Check. So I'm actually going to use this hash mark. So check if the form is valid. If valid, proceed. Else, return an error. So basically, we need to make sure the user fill out all required field, and then make sure the password confirmation matches the password. And then second, we will say check whether email already exists in our database. If exists, return an error. Else, proceed. Oh yeah, because we don't have pass function anymore, so we have that error. Don't worry about that. And number 3, gonna hash the password. So in case our database, some hacker hacked into our database, our user's credentials still will be secret because it's hashed. We'll talk about hashing when we get to there. And then we're gonna say, well, obviously hash correctly. So insert the row, and then return success. So that is our basic process. So return success, well, we could just say return registered successfully. Alright, so let's start step by step. First is check if the form is valid. Alright, so we really have two things to check. First is check the password. So if request.form.get, recall that's how you get a form field that is in a post request. So then what we will say is we need to make sure I have all three fields: email, or not, request. If not, so we will say if not. So if we didn't get this, essentially, request.form.get password, or not request.form.get confirmation, we will go ahead to return error. So return please fill out the fill out all required spell required. I don't know. Fill out all fields. I forgot how to spell required suddenly. And then if the form is apparently, so since I already returned it, we don't need to do else, because yeah, since we already returned the statement, so we don't need to double check whether it's false or not. And then we can say if request.form.get password doesn't match, so I'm checking is the password, is a confirmation password same to the password itself. We'll not do it on front end just yet because front end require a little bit of JavaScript. Well, we have to do it, but we'll just do it back end anyway. So we say return, excuse me, please, password confirmation doesn't match password. Alright, and then if valid, proceed. So if it passes these two levels, then that's mean okay, it does valid. So now we can move on to our step number 2, which is check if our email exists in our database. So how to check if an email exists in our database? Well, we can execute a few SQL commands, but the way we're going to use is we're going to select user that's email is equal to the email that user give to us. So for example, we can check if email exists in a database. We can execute following command. By the way, c.execute, execute the whole can execute SQL command. So you can say select star from, let's keep closing. Select star from users where email equals email. So email is request.form.get email. And then, so notice that you see that execute, just kind of execute some native SQL command. And then you notice I also use the placeholder. So with a colon, it's like how you assign variable in some way. You can see later I provide the variable in the dictionary. The key is the variable name. This can help us to prevent SQL injection. And then we need also use that fetch all. So this is going to give us a list, as you can see here. So, and then it's going to give us a tuple if it has some value. So tuple is just going to be the column index number. So since I select star, it's going to be user ID, email, and password. Alright, and then what I will do is say, we will say exist, and then we will say if user Okay. So if user if length of exist is not 0, then that's mean a row exists. Then what I would say is return user already registered. Since if it doesn't get any result, which we should get if the user doesn't register, which should get the length 0, which means shouldn't have no tuple value inside. But if it has tuple value, that means it does have some value there. So it does have the row exist. Alright, now we're gonna keep going. So we're now gonna hash the password. So in here, we're gonna import some other stuff. So we're gonna say from worksuck dot security import check password hash and generate password hash. Okay, so basically these obviously going to generate password hashes. And let me just talk briefly how that works. It's basically like some secret code that we will use. And then also note that there is an existing issue with worksuck. So you need to execute following command. So you probably need to execute following command. So pip uninstall worksuck, and then pip install worksuck version this. So this specific version should work because there's some worksuck issue happening. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and then hash the password. So hash the password is really simple. So we're gonna say password hash equals generate password hash, and then what we will say is password equals request.form.get password, and then notice that we also need to provide a salt. So this is like a method that we will hash in. We will use this specific method that is called, okay, this is pretty long to type, pbkdf2 SHA-256. I don't know why it's called that actually. Why there's error? Wait, why is there indented? Oh, okay, yeah. When I have like a big string as an indentation. Yeah, now it should work. Okay, so now what I would say is we also need to provide the salt links. Just gonna say 8. Alright, now it's gonna go generate a password hash. And now what we'll do is we're actually going to insert the row. So to insert a row, all to do is execute some basic SQL command. So c.execute insert into user. So just going to create a new row. Email password. Not really password because we're using password hash. We're naming password anyway. So values email password, and then here you're gonna provide dictionary. Email is request.form.get email, and then what I would say, whoops, not from form. To get the email, they also need to provide password, which is password hash. And now make sure you this is really important. Make sure commit the change, because it's like click on that little save button. If you don't do that, it's not actually pushing to the database. And then when every time you're doing a command similar, actually make modification to database, such as insert or update, you need to make sure that you actually commit the change. And then return success, and that's it. Okay. So, pretty cool. And then, okay. I don't know why I get error. Whoops. Yeah, comma. Alright. There you go. Fix all the error. And now, what we can do is we will just go ahead and register. So let's go ahead and try the register command. Alright, email address someone at example.com. Password. Submit. Now I can say I registered successfully. Now I actually do need the terminal because do need the DB browser for SQLite. I'm just gonna open it. I'm going to open this. And now, if you check the users table, now successfully we see a user registered. Great. Now, what if we want to log in a user? Well, now we're going to create a route called login. This video is going to be pretty long, I guess. Login. So, first of all, is we're going to make sure our form is correct. Just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to copy helper.py. Login. Here we will say email address, password confirmation. Don't need password confirmation. That's probably the only thing we need to change. Alright, so that's the HTML template we're going to use. Simple bootstrap. Now what we will do is we'll still go through, let's create a new route. So at app.route / login def login. And then, by the way, make sure you have login here. Make sure to create the function name as login, because spoiler alert, we're actually going to talk about a new new function, I guess. A URL4 function. I'm going to talk about how to use that later when we finish the login route. So now we'll have some pseudocode. Actually, before pseudocode, let's just make sure our method working. So method is get post. If request a method equals post. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. And then otherwise, just gonna return the template that is called register implementation. Alright, so now let's go through some pseudocode we're going to use for this route. So first is check if the form is valid. If so, check if email exists in the database. Next is check the password is same to password hash. By the way, once you hash the password, you can unhash it. So what we will check is hash the new password, the login password, and then check the hash with the password here. As you can see, it's like a bunch of hash. I don't even know. Bunch of hash. You and return success. That's 5 step. So check the form is valid. This time it's even simpler. So if not, request form get email or not request form get password. We're gonna say return. Please fill out our required fields. By the way, in later tutorial, we'll learn how to make the error look much nicer. But that's for the later tutorials. So check the email exists in database. So I can say, so user equals c.execute insert into, not insert, sorry, select star from users where user ID, email equals email. So provide a parameter, email is request form.get email. Now I'm gonna say .fetch all. Yeah. Actually we should say fetch one, but fetch all should also work. What happened when I say fetch? I don't know, let's just say fetch all. So if the length of user is not 1, then return you didn't register, or you registered twice, which shouldn't happen. And then what we can say is check the password hash is same to a password hash. Check the password is same to password hash. So what we can do is, okay. So what we will do is first since it's a tuple, so we can say password hash equals user bracket 0 bracket 2, and then we're gonna say if check password hash, which provide password hash. So password hash first, then request the form.get password. Password, and then equals false. Means it's not true, then return wrong password. And logging user in session. So this is the most interesting part. So we're gonna log the user in using session. So session, can you imagine us actually to use session, we need to use a secret key. So make sure you create app.config secret key equals secret key. Not that secret now. So make sure you have this statement. I don't know why they need it, but that's just how things work. And now we can say session user ID. That's the only thing we're gonna store because user ID is permanent. It's not gonna change unless the row get deleted. And now I can say it's user bracket 0 bracket 0. So get the tuple, get the first element tuple, and then return successfully logged in. Logged in. Welcome, user. And now if you want to get the session, successfully logged in. Yeah, so you can talk about how to use the session later. And now since we're just on it, we're just gonna create a route. Let's actually log the user out. So /logout, sorry. Alright, def logout. And then session.clear, so we just deleted all these session values that might exist. And by the way, the session is like it initializes session every single time when the user visits. If the user doesn't, it's not. We didn't set any session value yet. Session.clear return redirect. So redirect to a page URL4. So this is like the function name, the endpoint. So I'm gonna say So you're gonna log in. Yep, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and try this out. I'm not sure did I go too fast or not, so please comment below if I think I go too fast. So someone, is that someone with some email? I don't even remember. Some email. Copy, paste here. And then password is, please fill out required fields. Oh, okay, I didn't change the route. Yeah, so make sure you change the route, not register anymore, but log in. Just refresh twice, make sure stuff works. And then let me import, or let me say something I just not, let me do a fill out required field. Good, working. Wrong password. Whoops, not showing my email. So it's not my password. Wrong password, good. And now let me type my real password. Successfully logged in. Alright, great. So now if I go to /logout, it should clear out the session. Yeah, so redirect to this page. Good. And now what we need to learn is the last thing. Is we want to restrict a page to log in user only. So now we'll use our helpers.py. And now in here is we will say we'll add the following content. You can also find it in my blog, which is devismeblog.blogspot.com. By the way, this video took me a really long time to film, and the blog took me a long time to write. I wrote like 3 or 4 hours to write this blog. I'm not gonna type the whole thing. I'm just gonna say login required. I'm just gonna get the documentation changed a little bit. Okay, here. Alright. So what's happening here is you're creating your own decorator that you can use. That's basically what's happening here. And we're not using G. What's it need to get session? Yeah, session. Get user ID is none. So basically we don't have, so what's happening here, you'll create, I believe these two lines, so this line, line 5, line 6, line 9, line 10 are just some decorate function. But what really stuff is happening is in line 7 to line 8, these two lines. So what's happening here is we don't really need this for right now, but I'm gonna comment this line out. So what's happening here is if you don't get the user ID, which user ID if only and only if, okay, let me see. If the user successfully logged in and only if the user successfully logged in, the session will get a value called user ID. This is how could you get it. I'm pretty sure it's a dictionary because we're using .get method. And if it's none, then that means user didn't log in. So we're gonna return redirect URL4. So URL4 just redirect to a function's endpoint. So it's a function name. We're gonna redirect to the login function. And now let's go and create our index. Function should be at the top. And since now we import that, so slash here. Let's also say login required. And def index. Now let's just return render template index.html. Let me go extend. Oh, whoops, spelled it wrong. So now you can see we use the decorator under the app.route. Good. Now if you go to index, we'll go say copy paste, and then well, I will say here is you can actually get the value in Jinja is the session value using the expression, just using like the same thing like session user ID. So I can say welcome user 11, but you probably don't want to display user ID, which we'll talk anyway. But we'll just try to refresh the page. So now we will go ahead and write some email. My password successfully logged in. Now if I go to here, you will see welcome user 1. But if I logged out, and then if I try to access a route, you guys just forcibly redirect me to the login page. Alright, so that will be it for this video. So please like and subscribe if you like the content, want to support this channel. Any supporter, anything really helps. And then you can find all of this in the GitHub description below. We can go to github.com/statwithme/bit.ly-clone. Alright, excuse me. Alright, so thanks for watching and see you next time. Have a good day.